Prime Minister Narendra Modi is meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin in Sochi, which is a resort city located on the Black Sea. This is going to be an informal summit meeting, something similar to the one we saw between PM Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping in Wuhan in China recently. With an informal summit meeting, it essentially means there's going to be least amount of protocol so that the two top leaders can have more time for engagements and one-on-one conversations. It's a day-long visit to Sochi with around 4 to 6 hours of conversations packed in, mostly one-on-one, which will have no official note takers, maybe a translator, and no joint statements expected. But of course, individual media statements would be put out at the end of it. So according to official sources, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a telephone call to congratulate Vladimir Putin upon his re-election for the fourth term as president and after his swearing-in ceremony at the Kremlin, the two leaders decided that they should sit down at the earliest possible opportunity in an informal setting for a frank conversation on their national priorities as well as all global developments. Now, there is an annual structured bilateral dialogue between New Delhi and Moscow for which Putin is expected to travel to India later this year. The two leaders are also expected to meet along the sidelines of multilateral summit meetings like the SCO summit in China in June or the BRICS summit in July in South Africa. Despite that, the two leaders thought that perhaps there is not enough time along the sidelines of multilateral summits, and hence, given the fact that India and Russia share a historical relationship and a very, very important partnership, that they needed to have this conversation. The timing of the meeting is definitely significant. The Modi government is now entering the final year in office. India faces general elections in 2019. India wants to reset ties with neighbors and also perhaps try and correct some perceptions as far as its global power dynamics are concerned. There was a feeling that New Delhi had drifted too close to, in fact, Washington, D.C., much to the annoyance of old partners like Russia, which have now moved a lot more closer to countries like Pakistan, doing military exchanges with them and also military sales. Of course, beyond doubt, Russia still remains the largest military supplier for India, but India has been under immense pressure to try and reduce this. So India has been dealing, as far as arms and defense supplies are concerned, with US, with Israel, with France. But when Modi and Putin are meeting, what is going to be more important is the global turmoil, because increasingly on the world stage, Russia and China are sharing more common positions, be it on the situation in Syria or the US withdrawal from the historic Iran nuclear deal. For India and Russia personally, there are also high stakes here, given the fact that India could face possible secondary sanctions from the Donald Trump administration for dealing with Russia or even for going in for projects with Iran. Ties have worsened as far as the US and the West are concerned with Russia, and India has been trying to do a tightrope walking. But for now, perhaps Narendra Modi's biggest message to Vladimir Putin will be that despite all kinds of pressure, as far as India's national security interests are concerned, that will purely and solely determine who it does business with, where it goes in for defense procurements, and that relationship with Russia still remains stable and a trusted one. In New Delhi, signing off for the Tribune, this is Smita Sharma.